Hi, this is my database for an auto repair and maintenance shop. The information that they need to store is customer information like their name and address, appointment information like the date and time, bill and payment information, vehicle information, which is stuff like what kind of oil a vehicle takes, and then employee information and their skills and certifications, and then the services offered by this business. Here's the conceptual relationship diagram. You see customers related to invoice. One customer can have customers related to appointment. One customer can have 0 to many appointments. Each appointment's had by one customer. Appointment is related to one invoice, and an invoice is related to one appointment. And an invoice is related to 0 to many payments, and payment is related to one invoice. Appointments also related to one vehicle, and each vehicle can be part of 0 to many appointments. Appointment is related one to many services, and each service is in one appointment. A service is basically, it's like a bridge entity between appointment, employee, and operation. This just tells you what appointment, like an operations, like an oil change, for example. So like an oil change or a tire rotation, each one of those is a different operation. So this service entity is just to say, this is the appointment that got this operation and it was done by this employee. So that's what this is for. Employee is also related to certification. Certification is like what skills they have, their certifications. So because it's a many-to-many relationship, I needed this EMP certification entity. And this just has the EMP cert ID for the primary key, then the EMP ID and cert ID as primary keys, and then EMP cert obtained. So this is the date that they got certified on the thing. Certification is also related to operation because the operations need like a certain certification required for an employee to do it. So if an employee needs to have a certain certification to be able to do like a tire rotation or something, then that'll need to be checked to make sure they're eligible to do that service. And then there's also the list entity. Here's the logical model. It's pretty much the same except it has all the data types listed. Here's the first part of the reset script where it drops the tables. So it checks if each table is not null, and if it is not null, then it drops them. So it does that for each table. Here's the part where it creates tables. This is just creating the customer table. So you see cus ID cannot be null. It has to be unique because that's the primary key. And then everything else is just how it is. I'm still kind of conflicted about which ones to make not null because I don't want to need too much information, but so that's kind of the part I've been struggling with this database. But then here's the part to insert records. This is inserting them into the invoice table. So you see for each record, the first one is the inv ID, which is the primary key for invoice. Then the app ID, which is the appointment, a foreign key for the appointment table. Then the inv amount, which is how much money is due for that on this invoice. And then the inv date, which is the date and time that the invoice was generated. Here's the first select statement. This is used to check if it's been over 6 months since someone last got an oil change, if they've had one previously, and then to display that. So it takes their cus F name and cus L name from the customer table. It displays that as customer name, and then their cus address, cus city, cus state, cus zip, and displays that as address. So this is from the customer table joining the appointment table, joining the service table, joining the operation table. It needs to do all these joins so it can do the where statement because it checks where the op ID matches the op ID for a oil change. So where the operation was an oil change and where the appointment date has been over 6 months ago. So this is kind of displayed in like a kind of roundabout way. So where the appointment date is less than date add current date minus 6 months. So basically, if it's today's date minus 6 months, if their appointment date is less than that, then that's where it displays. Here's another select statement that's a reminder. This one is just if it's been over a year since the last appointment, it can send them a reminder just to remind them that the business still exists, basically. So this one I just have it show cuss ID, cuss F name, cuss L name, but that can be changed to be like their address or whatever you want to, if it's to send them something in the mail. So this is for the having statement. It's having where the max app date, so their most recent appointment, is date add. It's the same thing where it's like if their most recent appointment is less than today's date minus 1 year, so to know that it's over a year ago, or if their max app date is null. This probably wouldn't happen because an employee or a customer record is generated when they first make an appointment, but I thought maybe if the company adds in old records from their old database system for customers, but maybe doesn't add in all the old appointment records, then maybe there'd be some customer records that don't have a matching appointment record. So this just displays it too if their last date's null. Here's another one that displays if an employee's certification is about to expire within the next 30 days. It takes this so in the EMP certification table, it takes the date that they were certified on a certain thing, and then in the certification table it also has a cert duration attribute, which is how long that certification is valid for. So then it does the math on it where it takes the date they got it plus however long it's valid for. So like if you get certified on something that's valid for 1 year, then it displays whatever the expiration date is as cert expiry date, and then it checks where the date adds, so date, certification, duration, and certification obtained. So if the cert expiry date is between today's date and then 30 days from now, so this is just to display if it's about to expire in the next month, so the company knows to renew that certification on that employee. Here's another one that displays certifications needed. This selects their cert ID, cert description, and it counts the number of employees who have that certification. And then it does a ceiling statement, which it basically just like rounds it up to the next whole number. So this is used it counts the number of records in the employee table, which in this case is 10 because I put 10 different records there. So it multiplies that by 0.3, so it gets 30% of that. It does the ceiling statement just in case you had like 11 employees, and then it's multiplying it by 0.3 just because I always want it to round up. And then it counts it does the ceiling of that minus the count of the employees certified as the amount that still need to be certified. And so yeah, basically if this is just like general where it's the same percent, 30% for every certification, but this could be tweaked if you want it to be like different percents for different certifications. This is just like if they want a minimum of like 50% or something of their employees to be able to do an oil change, then this is used to see, okay, we need to do this many more to meet that. Here's another statement to display the outstanding balances. This one, it displays the customer name and the address the same way as my first statement did. And then this uses a case statement, which is basically like kind of like an if statement. So it says when total paid is null, then invoice in amount. So that means total paid is like the total that's been paid. So if that's null, like if they've never paid anything, then it just displays what the inv amount was. Otherwise, if it has been paid, then it takes the inv amount and subtracts the total paid, and it displays that as outstanding balance. And then, so it does a from. In the from, it's the customer table joining appointment, joining invoice, doing a left join with the sum of the pay amounts. Yeah, it's kind of complicated, but basically it's just to figure out, because since I have it like split where some of our example program or some of our example scripts would just add whatever bill is due just to the customer, like as an attribute in the customer table. And I kind of wanted it to keep each invoice and payment separate so you could know which ones you still owe for instead of having it all just as one total. So that's what this does. And then here's another one. It's basically the same exact thing, except you see in the second line it starts a sum function to just display all of them as a sum. So you see here, like the first two records is $20 and $10 here, just adds them together. That's the only difference, pretty much. And here are my references. These were just to learn about these different statements, like the ceiling and the case, and also this coalesce one. I ended up not using it in this presentation, but that's basically kind of like could replace the case statement for the spots I used it, and then I used ChatGPT to test some of my code. So a couple things I really think could be improved here is making it where the customer table, where their address isn't a required attribute. I have it as a required attribute now because for invoices, if like they owe money still, then they can get their address to send them the bill. But I kind of don't like this because a lot of customers may just pay their bill the day that it's like the appointment is. So why would they want to give their address if they already paid the bill? So I think that could be improved. And then also another thing I think should probably be changed is payments can only be tied to one invoice. But for example, here, like you see, if someone owed a couple payments and you send them the bill for that, they probably just want to pay it all as one big payment, like pay the whole sum of it. So I think changing that to be work with multiple, like one payment could be for multiple invoices. I think that could be an improvement. So I would have to tweak some of my select statements and stuff to do that. But anyway, that's about it. So thank you.